Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So, I'm going to do this quick video in response to Boyce Watkins and Yvette Carnell. And I didn't really get a chance to watch all of Yvette Carnell's video, but I saw enough to understand which direction she's going in. Um, and I also read some articles online dealing with the same subject. So, as many people know, Ben Carson made some controversial statements about slavery and immigration, basically saying that Africans who were brought here as slaves were immigrants, basically implying that we were looking for a better life and a better future and pursuing dreams for our future generations like any other immigrant group. And, obviously, this man got roasted by social media for making such an absurd and ridiculous and preposterous statement, and rightfully so. And I did a video on this subject. I will post a link in the cards when I get an opportunity to do so. But in response to this, you have these white conservatives essentially trying to defend Ben Carson by comparing his statements to statements that Obama has made. And surprisingly, well, it really shouldn't be surprising at this point, but you have Boyce Watkins and you have Yvette Carnell essentially doing the same thing. They are essentially finding themselves in the camp with these right wing conservatives defending a coon, basically. And that's what Ben Carson is. He's a coon. I'm trying to clean up the language, but he's a coon. He's a buck dancing, house Negro, Sambo, Uncle Tom, Uncle Ruckus, however you want to phrase it, that's what he is. This man is basically glossing over the horrors of slavery by suggesting that black people were voluntary or immigrants in this country. And later on, he tried to clean it up by saying involuntary immigrants, but it's too late. The damage is done. And social media has rightfully roasted this guy for making such a retarded and ridiculous and preposterous statement. So again, you have these people trying to compare Obama's statements to Ben Carson's statements, and they're way off base. And I think it's just a desperate attempt to cape and defend the indefensible. First of all, Obama in his statements about immigration and about slavery, he points out that Africans didn't come here voluntarily. He points that out in his statements. So he's not glossing over that reality and pretending like African Americans were just like any other group, unlike Ben Carson. Also, he talks about how African Americans face discrimination, hardship, and poverty. So he's talking about the perils and the suffering and the struggles of African Americans in contrast to what Ben Carson was talking about. Ben Carson didn't address any of that kind of stuff. And although Obama's statement is not as strong as I would have made a statement, I would have talked about, the lynchings. I would have talked about the castrations. I would have talked about the amputations and the brutal beatings and rapings of our people. But Obama at least talked about the suffering of our people. And that's something that Ben Carson neglected to talk about. He just basically implied that we were like any other immigrant group, and that's just nonsense. These other people weren't brought here in chains and shackles and stripped of their very identity and their humanity. Yeah, but I'm not gonna get amped up because y'all saw that last video. I think I got all that off my chest in that video. But I just want to, emphasize that there is a difference between what Obama has said and these people are trying to pretend like it's one and the same when it's not. Obama was emphasizing the fact that people in America come from many different places. There's a saying on the money that says "E plumas unum," one out of many. So you have all these different nationalities that come or came to America under different circumstances. That's his point. That's the point that Obama is making. And, I just pointed out the differences. So, I wish people would quit trying to cape for this coon, Ben Carson. He's not worth it. And, these people are falsely trying to point out some fake hypocrisy when there is none. The two men didn't make the same types of statements. So just chill with the nonsense, chill with the ridiculous analogies and comparisons because it's not the same situation.